My name is Kat, or the Free Librarian, and welcome to a new reading vlog. It is Sunday evening right now, and I wanted to start this vlog for the second week of the Get a Clue Readathon. I haven't vlogged the first week, so I'll just catch you up on what happened so far. But first, if you don't know what the Get a Clue Readathon is, it is a competitive readathon hosted by Rainy from the channel Rainy Blue Reads. And so basically there is one prompt associated with each of the rooms from the board game Clue or Cluedo. And the prompts get dropped throughout the month, and so you pick a book to read that fits that prompt, and you try to finish it before the next one drops. So like if you know Amazing Readathon, similar to that. And I'm participating. I'm a little bit behind. There's 3 rooms that are currently open, and I expect the 3rd prompt to drop probably tomorrow. But I only finished 1 book so far, which was for the first room, which is the lounge. The prompt was a book with a cozy, comfortable, pleasant adjective in the title, and so for that I read Clean by Alain, which is a literary fiction that I've been wanting to try. It's by a Chilean author, and I really liked it. I'll give you my final thoughts in the wrap up. But then from the lounge, we took the secret passageway to the kitchen, and I'm part of Team Mrs. Peacock, and the challenge for Mrs. Peacock to take that passageway was that your book for the conservatory, which is, I said kitchen, did I say kitchen? To the conservatory. The book for the conservatory, you have to read a book that is, within like 30 pages away from the book that you read previously. So the book that I read previously was Clean, which is 255 pages. So I had to read a book that fit the conservatory prompt that was also between 225 and 285 pages, which made me a little bit nervous because I don't have a ton of books that are within that range. But I have a few, so it was just hoping that they would fit the prompt. And then when I heard what the prompt was, I had 1 book that fit that prompt and the extra requirement, and that was Death at Morning House by Maureen Johnson. The prompt was to read a book that has glass on the cover in some way, and you see that there are picture frames, which will have like glass to, protect the thing inside. So yeah, and there's also a camera, which the lens will be glass. So I went with this. It also 271 pages. I'm currently 28% in. I'm really enjoying it. So this is about a teenage girl who gets a summer job at this mansion called Morning House on this private island where the Ralston family used to live, which is a pretty known story in the area of this man who has adopted 6 children, raised them on his own, and then he also had a mother, or was it 5 children, and then he had a 6th one. He later on had a child of his own, like biologically his, but I don't know if it's 6 plus that one, or if it's 6 with that last one included. I'm not really sure. Anyway, they lived on this island, and they were very wealthy, but also they were like obsessed with health and routine and stuff like that. And so we have a past timeline where we see them, and we follow them. But the thing that they're most known for is that on a certain day in 1932, 2 of the children died on the same day. And so accident, or at least so people think, but it's a mystery thriller, so probably not. um, and so people are now like visiting this place and doing like various people doing research in this place, and so she has a summer job as a tour guide here, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm very intrigued in what is going on. I really want to know because there are some things that are weird to me, um, but this one is currently just on pause slightly because the other book that I'm reading is going to be due at the library soon, so I decided to prioritize that one, and then when I finish that, I'll continue this, and then I'll talk more about it. But so far, I'm really, really enjoying this. But then the third room that opened was the kitchen, and for the kitchen, you have to read a book that has some sort of pattern on the cover, which could be like the background of the cover, or just, you know, like a person on the cover where like a piece of clothing had a pattern on it or something like that. And so I decided to go with the Blanchard order, which is very long, but if you see on the crown, you have this motif here that is repeated, which, you know, that's what I went with. It is long. It is a little over 600 pages. I am on page 382, so almost 2/3. And I'm really enjoying this. I was worried that I wouldn't love this because I had heard from a lot of people that this was disappointing, that it, you know, was a disappointing ending to the series. And so far I'm not feeling that. So far I'm really, really liking it. So this is the third book in the Drowning Empire series, which is a Asian-inspired fantasy series, where we have this world in which there is bone shard magic. So you have these little shards of bones that you can engrave a command in, and then they can sort of power these constructs that they can do various tasks. Like it's very similar to computer coding. And in the first book, we follow a few different POVs, but I would say like the two most important ones are Lynn and Jovis. Lynn is the daughter of the Emperor. And the Emperor is the only person who knows how to use this magic, and he's supposed to teach it to her, but he refuses to because Lynn lost her memory, and he won't teach her until she has her memory back. And so she tries to get it back in the first book. And then Jovis, he is a smuggler, like on a ship. He is trying to find his wife that has gone missing, but he also sort of almost by accident got involved in saving children from the ceremony in which a bone shard is taken from them, which is something that everyone in the Empire has to go through, but sometimes children die during the ceremony. You know, if people like cutting them open to remove a bone shard, they hit a wrong thing that they shouldn't hit, they can die. But also, if your shard is used, then the energy used to power this construct is drained from you, and so it drains the life out of you, and you have this thing like charred sickness. That is, of course, you know, you don't want that. So he's saving the children from the ceremony that don't have this shard removed, that they never have to worry about this. Things go from there. That is like the first book, but things have very much changed since then. I think it is very interesting thematically. This third book, we are talking about so the previous emperor has really not been a great emperor for the people. And there have been a couple of emperors that haven't been great for people. And so there's this rebellion that is formed and people wanting change and stuff like that. And how there are certain people who take advantage of these genuine concerns of everyday people to, um, get to power themselves, but they don't really intend to help the people in any way. They just want power for themselves, and they find a way to achieve that through pretending to help the people with their goals. And then also how they can commit atrocities, and thereby, by the action of this particular person, it sort of discredits the general cause, and so people refuse to listen to these people who do have good ideas and want to improve things, because certain people who are very loud within that group, who may be taking on a leader role in that group, do what they do, and so people don't want to listen to them anymore, which is, I'm not gonna go into it. But so yeah, that is very interesting. We also have a leader who is in power and wants to do right by the people and wants to do what's best for everyone, but because of their own limited perspective, they're so far removed from the everyday concerns of normal people, because they're privileged, and so they just don't understand what normal people need, maybe. And so because of that, they're also not really making things better in the way that would benefit the people the most. And I think that that is very interesting as well, where just because you have good intentions as a leader doesn't make you a good leader. You also, have to, the result matters too. And if you refuse to listen to people, that result is not going to be there, and you're not quite as bad as the other people were, but because you're not actively, but you're still maintaining certain things that are already in place, which is interesting. We also have a discussion of, okay, but if we are in a system that allows this one person to have so much power for their entire life, pretty much, even if there is one person that has good intentions and is doing well and all that, shouldn't we maybe get rid of the system anyway? Because yes, this one powerful person now, it may be good, but who's gonna say that their heir or their heir's heir, that they won't go back to the way it was in the previous, you know. So we have that going on, which is also a pretty interesting discussion, in my opinion. And then there is also an element in this that I also find very interesting, which is about the emperor's consort, and how there is always this power dynamic between them, because the emperor is so powerful and the consort can't you know, can't really push back to the emperor and can't really say no in the same way. So that was very interesting in my opinion. And sort of how this dynamic in marriage is very abusive and is not great for the person involved, for actually both the people involved. And you know, like, even if you're no longer in that situation, the struggle of, you know, like, to what extent did I really love this person, and to what extent was I just not allowed to not love this person? And so, yeah, there's a lot of interesting themes in this book, and so far, I don't really understand why it is received so negatively. Like, not that people actively hated it, but people were very disappointed, and I don't see why at this point. I mean, I still have a little over 200 pages left, so it could still go downhill. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. I will read a little bit more tonight. I am gonna go out with some friends, and we're, you know, just gonna kick off the new semester with a bang. But I still have like an hour and 15 minutes before I have to leave for that. So I will read some more of this, because this is due at the library on Wednesday. And so I definitely want to be able to finish it before then. I can't submit this for the readathon until I finished also the conservatory book, because the conservatory was entered before the kitchen, so I can't submit this before I finished this. But I do want to, you know, finish it first, because I want to be able to return it at the library in time. But I want to be able to finish it before that. So I'm switching around the order a little bit. But yeah, that is my reading update. I've been talking for quite a while. So I will talk to you probably tomorrow. See you then. Hi, it is Monday afternoon. I haven't read a ton more of anything really. I am now on page 416 of the Bone War, and we're getting ready to, you know, get to like the explosive ending to the series, and I'm really excited. So I'm gonna read a little bit more. Now, but first, the next prompt just dropped. I haven't watched it yet. I'm not gonna include the clip in the video, but I'll just watch it now, and then I can decide what book I want to read for that already, together with you. So I'm gonna watch now. I'll be right back. Okay, so I moved locations because, like, my books are down here. So I have a lot of options for this prompt, because a prompt is an elegant book in some way, which could mean a lot of things. It could be a book about royalty, or a book about like fancy event, or like set in a Regency era, which is always pretty fancy, or just a beautiful cover, or beautiful writing. So there's a lot of options to interpret this prompt, and because of that, I also have a lot of options to pick from. So some of them I have here with me physically, some I don't. So I'll just go over. I have a spreadsheet with all the library books I've checked out. I'll go over them, what could work. Um, out of the ones that I don't have here, I have Just Sir Philip with Love, which is book 5 in the Bridgerton series, which is a Regency romance. That could be an option. I also have Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas, the 4th book in a Throne of Glass series, and Alain is royalty, so that could probably work. I could also do Those Who Went Before by Elizabeth Spencer, which is an arc I have, and I think that the cover is really pretty and elegant. I'll put it on screen. So that is an option too. And it's an arc that comes out on March 1st, so I would have to read it somewhere this month. So, you know, I was hoping to be able to fit it in. Some other books that I have 2 more library books that could work. I have Strange Dreamer by Laini Taylor, which is known for its very lyrical writing, and so that could be an option. I also have Chimèred de Vénus, which is the first album in a spin-off series to Castle and the Stars. I don't believe there's an English translation of this series out yet, but I think that this lady on the cover is very, very elegant. So that's another option. And then I have 3 books that I own that I could do. First of all, I have The Dragon's Promise, the 2nd book in the 6 Crimson Cranes duology, which means that I'll finish in the series, which would be great. And just look at the cover, it's very, very pretty. So that definitely works. I also have Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron, which is about like girls having to go to a ball to find their partner the way that Cinderella did 200 years ago. So we have a ball setting, which is quite elegant. And then lastly, this is one that I sort of grabbed on a whim, and that is No Season But the Summer by Matilda Lyser. This is a Greek myth retelling, like about Persephone, who sort of becomes like a climate activist. And the writing in this is absolutely stunning. Let me read you the first couple of lines. It's dark down here. Not bright night dark. Thick through and through dark. I scramble up tunnels, squirm through crevices, and crouch on boulders in the blackness. I feel the fine grain of the limestone under my hands. Soon it will soften into soil, and I will know that I'm near the surface. No sound but my breath and the rush of the stream, which I have followed against its downward flow since I left the river far below. I brace myself, arms out against the tunnel wall as the slope steepens, and press on. At last it levels. I pause inside the hug of the rock, which is just so poetic and so pretty, and I love it. So this one also has really nice prose. So those were the ones that I was thinking of, but then I don't know what it is, but recently I've sort of, I don't know, Tudor historical fiction, like about like specifically about like Henry VIII's wives. It's kind of been calling to me, and I don't know why. I've never been all that interested in that, but suddenly, you know. So that's an option too. There is one series that I've been wanting to start, which is called Six Tudor Queens. It's by Alison Weir. So in the first one, which is about Catherine of Aragon, I don't know what the title is exactly, but it's one book for each of the wives. So those are options. Let's eliminate some. I'm first going to eliminate Queen of Shadows because A, it's too long, and B, I don't know if it quite fits the prompt of elegant. I'm not sure. I also don't think I'm gonna read No Season But the Summer. I think I'm gonna eliminate this one. Not because I don't want to read it, but just I don't know if it's one for now. Same with the Dragon's Dramas. Like, I keep putting this off and I probably should read it, but just not right now. I also don't think I'm gonna get the Tudor book just yet. I mean, I still have to finish the Boneshard War and Death at Morning House, so the book that I pick right now, it can still change, but this is just what I'm feeling right now. I don't think I'm gonna do a Tudor book. I also don't think I'm gonna do Cinderella's Dead, just because, I don't know. And then the real dilemma starts between the other ones, because both those who went before, which, as I already said, is an arc, I kind of have to read it in February. So that's like a must read. Strange the Dreamer also is sort of like a must read for February. So yeah, those two would be the smartest thing to do for me. But then the comic would, get me caught up with the readathon really quickly. Because I mean, this will take me an hour to read, not even. So it'll just, because I am so far behind, I think that having something to catch up really quickly could be a good idea. And then just, I don't know, I think that To Sir Philip with Love just fits the prompt really, really well. And so I don't really want to eliminate that one either. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to keep those 4 options open. And I'll see, once I finish the 2 books, how I'm feeling. I mean, To Sir Philip with Love, I would have until the weekend. So if I finish earlier than the weekend, that already eliminates that. And then I'll just see what I'm in the mood for at the time. So yeah, we'll see. This is good. I like talking this out because it helps me decide. Because if I don't know, I feel like if I do this thing with like the options and sort of talking my way through it, like it seems like I already know from the start which one I'm gonna pick, or like certain books that I'm gonna eliminate. But I don't. Actually, this talking really helps me a lot with that. So glad that we did that. I am gonna go because I need to go get groceries. And then I could just read until my class is, but it's raining. I don't want to go get groceries in the rain because I don't have my umbrella with me here. Because I took it with me to London. And I don't have it right now here because it's still in the bag that I took to London, which is not here. So that's sad. But yeah, I guess we're gonna have to do it. Unless I just go tomorrow. Like tomorrow morning. Because I think I still have enough for breakfast tomorrow. So I could probably go tomorrow morning. That means I can just read until I have to go. I think that's a good idea because I really want to finish the Boneshard War. Not just because I'm behind, but also because I'm really invested and it's really starting to pick up and I want to know what happens. So, yeah, I will talk to you. I'll try tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Bye. Hi. It is Thursday already. I didn't mean to leave this long between updates, but it just happened to be that way because on Tuesday evening I stayed up to finish the Boneshard War. I didn't stay up particularly late because I finished at like a little after 11, but actually wanted to go to bed early because I was pretty tired that day. So it was later than I expected, than I'd planned, and so Wednesday was spent also being quite tired. So I didn't really get a chance to talk to you because, yeah, it was also just hectic yesterday. There were a lot of things that needed to be taken care of, and so that's what I did. I also don't have the physical copy with me anymore because I returned it to the library yesterday because it was due yesterday. So, I don't have it, but I really enjoyed the ending. As I already said, having finished the book, I still don't really see why it was received so negatively, or like, it's not like people hated it, but people were disappointed and thought it was very mid. I feel like I think that is the opinion that I've seen the most in my corner of the internet. Um, but I still don't really see why. I had a great time. I think it explored some very interesting themes. I already mentioned a couple in the previous update, but I don't remember which ones exactly. But yeah, there were a lot of things about like morality and what makes someone a hero, and if you have good intentions, is that enough? Or um, does it, like, to what extent does the result count in comparison to intentions? I think that is very interesting. It was also like about different types of being strong, and how it doesn't have to be like punchy punchy stabby stabby, but you can also be strong in a lot of other ways. I think that is, especially in the character of Renami, was explored a lot. So I think that was very interesting about how to govern a country. What is the best way to do that? Is there a perfect way to do that? And if you're in a system that is inherently flawed, just getting rid of the tyrant that is in power won't help you, because there will just be another person who will continue to do the same thing. And even if there is a good leader who is trying their best to be as good as possible, the system in itself is still flawed. And should we excuse the existence of the system, of a bad system, just because there is one good person in the system? But like, when they're gone, things would go to hell again. Um, Stuff like that. Also, to what extent, like, what is justified in revolution? Um, because you have characters who try to change the system while remaining within the system, which just doesn't work. But like, how far can you create chaos and suffering for people before your revolution itself becomes an immoral thing? And yeah, I think we had a lot of things in there. Also, people using um, genuine concerns with the system and genuine suffering from people as a tool to get power for themselves. Um, and like manipulating people into following them by promising them to change their situation while they're not planning to do so. And yeah, I think that is very interesting. There are also mentions of abusive relationships that were very hard to read at times, but also very, very well done, I think. I mean, I don't personally have experience with that, so I can't comment. Like, luckily, I don't have experience with that. I'm very grateful for that. But so I can't really comment on the way it was portrayed, but for me as an outsider, it felt very, like, handled very well. So yeah, I think this was an interesting book. It was still very entertaining. Like the plot was definitely plotting, and the action was definitely there too. So I just personally don't really, at this point in time, see why people were disappointed. Like I would love to know. I would love to be able to understand and have a discussion about this. Um, but I had a great time with it. I'm thinking of a 4.5, maybe even a 5 star, but I always like to sleep on my rating, so I'm gonna do that. Um, so yeah, I also finished a series now, which is great. I have a bingo board. Well, the there's a challenge that I'm participating in that has a bingo board for finishing series. But I think if I look at things that I might do during the weekend, that there is a chance that I'll also finish a series in the week during the weekend. So I'll just wait until after that to add this to the bingo board. Then we could just do both at once. Because there has been another announcement in Get a Clue, and that this weekend there is going to be a sort of special weekend where any book we read, no matter the page count, will get 100 points. It can be as long or as short as we want, and also no prompts. So I have quite a few comics that I want to put in here, and I also have quite a few so like in the authors, if you sign up to their newsletter, you can sometimes get like a free prequel novella or stuff. I have a lot of those from signing up to people's newsletter, but I just never read them. Um, so I think I might like try a couple authors during the weekend with those very short stories as well. I think this could be a good time to do that, and to just not forget that they exist, because that happens. Oopsie. So I think that could be a thing, but I have a comic series that I'm thinking of reading at least one album of, but there's two total, and I have both out from the library. So if I read both, that is another series finished technically. So we'll see. I will talk about that later, but yeah, those are the plans for the weekend. I'm still reading That Hot Morning House, so I will continue that. I also, while I was at the library yesterday, I decided to take home a book. I mentioned earlier that for some reason, Tudor era historical fiction, and especially like Henry VIII's wives, is kind of speaking to me at the moment. I don't know why. But so while I was at the library anyway, I decided why not get Catherine of Aragon, The True Queen by Alison Weir, which is a historical fiction about Catherine of Aragon. It's the first book in the six Tudor Queens series, which is a series with like one book on each of the wives. I have learned about Catherine of Aragon and Anne Boleyn in high school, but actually not the other ones. Like we just heard, oh yeah, and there were four more after that, but like even their names weren't mentioned in class. Like I googled them myself because I wanted to know, but their names is like pretty much all I know about the other ones. So I'm excited to get those books so that I can because I don't know their story as I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm an expert on Catherine of Aragon or Anne Boleyn either, but I'm slightly more familiar. Like I know the general trajectory of what's gonna happen. So yeah, I'm really excited to get started. Also, would you believe me that this book is over 600 pages? This does not look like a 600-page book. This looks like a 400-page book or something like that. But no, these are like absolute Bible pages, and like it's like walls of text. So I mean, not complaining, but it's like when I got home and noticed that, I was like, oh, okay then. But so yeah, I might push this to March though, because I already have quite a few long books in February, and I don't think that this is gonna happen as well. But so yeah, I got that. I'm really excited about that. It yeah, I think those are my updates. I will talk to you later. Bye. Hi, it's Sunday evening and I have updates. So, first of all, I finished Death at Morning House. And I don't even think I actually even told you what this is about. So I'll do that now. So this is a YA thriller. It's by Maureen Johnson, who also wrote the Truly Devious series, which I have not read, but it's a pretty popular series. And this is her newest release. It came out last year, and I really liked it. It's about a girl called Marlowe who gets a summer job at Ralston Island, which was a private island owned by the Ralston family, who was a very wealthy family in like the 1930s. And there they built a house called Morning House, like a mansion, and as well as some other like extra buildings. And they spent their summers there. And they were very known for two reasons. The Dr. Philip Ralston adopted 6 children all in the same year. Sort of like the same age, and he just had 6 babies. There were children that he helped like deliver, but their mothers couldn't really take care of them. And so he adopted them and, raised them. And then later on, he ended up marrying, and then there was a 7th child that was like the biological child of him and his wife. And they, were like obsessed with health and routine, and like did a very strict diet. They did a lot of exercise, like a lot of also just intellectual training, stuff like that. And the story that is most known about them is that on this one day in July in 1932, 2 of the children died, which Max, the youngest, like the biological child, drowned, and then Clara, one of the older ones, fell off a balcony. And so it is believed that the nanny, Max's nanny, was asleep, and so Max snuck out and went swimming, and then, accidentally drowned. And then Clara, like the reef was too much for her, and that's how she died. And so now there is a researcher on this island writing a book about the whole situation, and she has also hired a couple of teenagers or like young people to work there during the summer, because also tourists are eating it up and visiting the place, and so Marlowe is one of those. And then things go from there. The first half of this book, actually not that much happened. but there is this quality to writing that really kept me intrigued and kept me turning the pages, or like tapping the pages because it's an ebook. So yeah, I don't know. I was very intrigued the entire way through, which is also why I didn't really update along the way. Because my thoughts about this never really changed. At least like my spoiler free thoughts didn't really change. And I don't want to spoil the book, obviously. So I didn't really have a ton to say throughout it, but I really, really enjoyed it. Chapters weren't too long either, which helped with the, easy readability. It is a dual timeline book, which usually when it happens, one of the timelines is, you like more than the other. That is just a thing that happens in here. And it was true here as well. I really, whenever I said we got a chapter from the past timeline, I was always really happy. Because we would get one in the past and then a couple in the present, and then again one in the past and a few in the present. And so I liked when we got one in the past, but I thought the present was interesting and intriguing and done well as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. A lot of queer representation in this book. We have Marlowe herself, who is a lesbian. We have another gay character. We have a bi character. We have a non-binary character. They're not in it for that long, but they're there. So yeah, I mean, all in the present timeline, because in the past timeline, it wouldn't be the, because Dr. Rawson is quite problematic. So we have commentary on like wealth inequality. We have Dr. Rawson is also into eugenics, because of course he is, because it's the 1930s. And so we have a little bit of that. Just a whole lot of things that were very interesting. Really liked it. I liked the vibes as well. So I definitely would recommend this. I think I'm gonna give this like a 4 to a 4.5, somewhere there. I liked the conclusion as well. I guessed the solution of the past timeline partially. The present, I didn't guess. Because like both of them have a mystery, and the mysteries have a lot of like parallels to them, which I definitely appreciated. So yeah, Death at Morning House. I had a great time. This was my book for the conservatory, which I needed glass on the cover. We have picture frames, and so they would have glass in front of them, so I decided to count it as that. This was 271 points or pages, plus then 100 bonus points because it's a murder mystery. So it is gave Team Mrs. Peacock 371 points. Then I also mentioned in the previous clip that I was gonna do like the bingo board with the series for the Bone Shard War in this clip. I didn't end up reading really anything for like the mid-month chaos thing, because I thought maybe this is an opportunity to just catch up on the room prompts, because I was a little bit behind. I'm still a little bit behind, but I'm gonna be remedying that fairly quickly. So I didn't really finish another series, so it'll be just that one. So I'll have the bingo board right here. As you can see, there's already one crossed off, which was from January. I read These Gossamer Strings, the last book in the Last Gift trilogy, which I really enjoyed. I'm planning to film my January wrap-up later this week. I've been putting it off, but I'm planning to do it later this week, and it'll go up. My December wrap-up isn't up yet either, but I'll talk about it there. But I'll put this on the Indie or Self-Love series. And then the Bone Shard War will go on BIPOC author, because Andrea Stewart is Chinese American. So yeah. Then I have completed 3 room books. There's 2 more rooms open because on Friday evening, another prompt dropped, but you won't see that in this video. I've already started the book, but I'm gonna start my next vlog with my first update on that. So we'll be talking in here. The other one, which was the ballroom with the elegant book prompt, I talked about earlier and I showed option for earlier. I think what I'm gonna do is just catch up fully and quickly put in a comment. So the prompt was an elegant book, and then Rainey gave some ways of interpreting that. And you know, we have a very elegant lady on the cover, so I think that counts. Another example that Rainey gave was beautiful writing style. Now this is a comic, not a prose book, so we don't really have a writing style, but we do have artwork on the inside, and I think that the art style is absolutely stunning. So yeah, I'll be reading this. This is Chimèred de Vénus, which is the first book in a spin-off trilogy from Castle in the Stars, which made my top 10 of last year. So I'm really excited about this. I will finish this tonight. Like, I read this in one sitting. So that way, like, all the rooms that I have now will not close. You can, because you can still like read the book for them, but like that I'm in the room that we're currently in, and I feel like I'm more caught up again on the readathon, which will be really nice. So I'll be reading this. I will give a final update once I finished this, and then end the vlog there. I think that's a good place to end it. So I'm gonna go to reading now. Bye. Okay, so I finished Les Chimères de Vénus. Vénus, I'm not sure if the S is pronounced in French. But, so yeah, this is a, as already said, a spin-off of Castle in the Stars, which is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, comic series that I've read so far. And so I had high hopes going into this, and while this is not bad, it was quite disappointing to me. So this is about an actress in the opera, who's the lady you see on the cover, and her loved one, who is a poet, is a prisoner in this prison camp on Venus. And so she goes to Venus to try and find him, but right before she arrives, this man also escapes, and so she can't just walk to the camp and say, "Hi, I'm coming here to take him home, thank you," because he's gone. And so we see them like both sort of go on an adventure to try and find each other. And, or well, she tries to find him, he just tries to escape. And so the majority of this book is like action survival story. in the jungle, because like Venus is pretty much an enormous jungle that has dinosaurs. So yeah, that is kind of fun, but it's a lot more action heavy than the other series, where the other one I feel like is more political. And so this one is more plot forward, where the other one was more themes forward, I think. Um, so yeah, I didn't love that. Also, it's written and drawn by other people than who did the original series. And so the art style is slightly different, and especially the way people are drawn feels. I'm quite picky with how people are drawn typically, and I think that in here I don't dislike it, but they feel very two dimensional in the way that just the art style, um, which I didn't feel like was the case in the original series, and I really liked the way people were drawn in the original series, which, as I said, is hard to find for me because I'm quite picky. Um, so yeah, and this also has that very like surface level feminism that really annoys me in a lot of like historical fiction. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go on adventure. Oh no, you can't do that because you are a woman. And it's like, huh, I'm gonna do it anyway because I'm a strong woman and a feminist. And the confines of society, I don't listen to them. And I'm like, I just don't think that's interesting. I think it is very surface level. I don't think it's very nuanced. I think it is easy. It's overdone. I don't think it's doing what I think a lot of authors think they're doing when they're writing it. Um, so I really don't like it. It kind of annoys me, and this one very much has that as well, with, our main character who goes into the wilderness to find this man. So yeah, I didn't love this. I didn't hate it either. Like, I still liked the art style, even though I didn't love it as much. I still love the use of color in this. I think it was done pretty well, and it also sort of to contrast, because we're switching back and forth to the perspective of the man who escaped. And so that is very muted, very, and then you have high society where our female main character is, and so that is like very bright and vivid colors. And so I think that that is very interesting and then great use of color in this book. But yeah, I think that overall I'm disappointed. I'm thinking of a 3-star because I didn't hate it, and but I'm gonna think about it. I don't want to give it higher than a 3, because I didn't love it that much. I am gonna try to finish the series because I feel like I'm gonna need the context of this series to continue the other one. But yeah, that is this. I read it, and that's gonna be the end of the vlog. So in this vlog, I read The Bone Shard War by Andrea Stewart. I read Death at Morning House by Maureen Johnson, and then Les Chimèred de Vénus by Alain, Ayroles, and Étienne Jung. So that's the end of the vlog. I'm gonna start the next vlog right away. So I hope that you watch that too, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.